we're going to move on to the next video today. We're going to be checking out terrible writing advice, which I'm sure will in no way, shape, or form make me rage at some of the things he's pointing out that are, it's terrible writing advice, but also I know people who've done it, you know, like every other video, I can't speak today. I word sometimes. English major, folks. Yeah, we're checking out terrible writing advice. This is going to be how not to write Star Wars, terrible writing advice, and maybe marketing promotion in magic schools, because I'm sure there's no way the middle one would tie into anything else here. Yeah. I know in advance, these videos, they're going to cause pain. I'm aware. Let's begin. A short time ago, in his parents' basements far, far away, apparently the audio or the video definition improved. Terrible writing advice. Star Wars text scroll. Again, I've seen only this one ever do it well. Episode Money, Money, Money. Vengeance of the Nostalgia. Or Revenge of the Nostalgia. In a transparent effort to gain more subscribers, J.P. Bubin, creator of Terrible Writing Advice, has decided to construct a Star Wars special. He has created this handy guide for anyone who wants to write a Star Wars story. Okay, I'm just going to say it right now. It's the one thing I absolutely hate about the text scroll. The words start in the middle and you can't actually see them right away. Hate it in every single one. I know it's tradition. It's still horrible. Which maybe a whole 5 people might use? Now, every Star Wars story starts with an opening crawl just like this one. This is a perfect place to dump boring exposition. Just be sure to mention something about a super weapon or trade deals, because nothing says exciting quite like trade disputes. I mean, I kind of don't mind, but also more just for nostalgia, which is the point of it. Yeah, it's like all the stuff they don't know how to show, they just throw it in there, and they keep doing it because it's what they started with. So if they don't do it, they're kind of making people mad at them. It's not a good reason, but it's accurate. Now, after the crawl fades upwards, we should pan down to either a starship or a planet, maybe both. Also, it can't hurt to start with a space battle. Finally, be sure to end with a dramatic pause like this. ... Not even a 3 dot, but a 4. Fancy. And sorry, to mention, hey, if we hit the goal, we could force Airier to finally watch another episode of Speaker D's Mage the Awakening games, because he has for like a month. Has it really been that long? Oh, shit. Huh. And he immediately goes to his ship.
Do you want to write a Star Wars story?
And he's going to the reveal of Darth Vader in the chamber where he was meditating and or taking his hat off inside the very triangle ship. And he's doing it exactly right, man. But, oh, God. Hobby, you mentioned seconding science last super chat. Oh, getting more of the Speaker D. Yeah?
It is your destiny. I will guide you in the ways of Star Wars style storytelling, my young apprentice. Let us begin with a transition screen wipe. Now, Star Wars plots range from insultingly simple to unnecessarily complicated. However,
honestly, a lot of it was Obi-Wan tries to find out things that are never actually mentioned directly in the story, while the things everyone was planning happen anyways, regardless of any input by the protagonists. I've summed up Attack of the Clones for you. It has great world building, but horrible usage of any of it. Also, the first Star Wars was insultingly simple, but it did the job.
Since the Star Wars franchise is now owned by a huge corporation, the only option is to abandon any attempt at innovation and stick to what works.
Yeah, did they though? Did they really stick to what works? Again, I'm going to say something that I know I'm going to get people hitting that unsubscribe button for this. The worst episode in all of Star Wars is still kind of episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I was the most bored with it. It was cool once, and it has a lot of good moments. But overall, nothing in there happens that matters. The beginning is there was a fight and Palpatine takes over. And then the Clone Wars happens on the TV show matters more. But the actual movie itself is literally, it begins and you're just watching the beginning. But a lot of it is Obi-Wan running around trying to find a problem and finding out what's going on. And then it never comes to anything because it already happened behind the scenes and it never mattered because his involvement was literally just introducing characters so you get to have world building. But none of it actually mattered. I keep coming back to that. It's like episode 2 is the freaking casino scene in number 8, The Force Returns, or The Last Jedi Awakening. I don't even remember what it's called. It's the casino scene from one of the later trilogies, except it was the entire movie, but with really cool everything that didn't matter. I have mixed feelings. I'm sure no one ever has said that about Star Wars properties.
This means that any new Star Wars plots should resemble something from episodes 4, 5, or 6. This makes things easy since we only have 2 possible plots. Evil Empire builds superweapon or Evil Empire chases princess.
I mean, to be fair, they're traditional plots in more than just Star Wars. And I still think Force Awakens is probably the strongest of the 3. It was just pure nostalgia bait, but they did pure nostalgia bait well. It's not good, but they did it well. The later movies had issues. I think a lot of it was they didn't know what they were doing when they started. And instead of, making a trilogy, they made 3 movies with the same characters, and that's really the extent of it. Also, sorry to mention, yes, it's been that long, Airier. You keep finding shiny new channels. And the last time you mentioned Speaker D, you had to end before because it overheated. Oh, yeah, the camera overheated, and you mentally overheat from the 50 Shades of Grey stream. Yeah, because I was going to do that. I want to forget that 50 Shades of Grey stream. It was 2 hours of absolute torture.
Worry about having to choose between them when we can have both. Now, some may point out that the Empire is foolish for building superweapons, since every Death Star and Starkiller base build has yet to survive even a single battle.
Yeah, but also Palpatine doesn't give a damn. It's like, what's money when I can just tell people no?
Never mind they could build enough nuclear missiles to sterilize every planet in the galaxy at a fraction of the cost of a single Death Star. So let's just ignore this fact, just like the Empire does.
Yeah.
With our plot...
And he's not even joking about that. It's literally, I don't care. You could do anything you want to try and stop me. My answer is, okay, good argument, but I'm going to kill you if you say no. That was how the Empire ran. Like, everything aside, Palpatine's entire thing is, it's rule through strength, specifically mine, and I like playing with everyone else because it's fun. Seriously, if you want to see anything about Palpatine's actually psychology, it's literally, I enjoy being near death, and I'm putting myself in those situations because they amuse me. It's also one of the reasons that this has been a consistent theme through multiple different people owning the franchise. And I think Disney did really well at handling in the Clone Wars TV show because they showed Palpatine in the Clone Wars had the most fun when he was fighting Maul, when his plan was breaking down, so he had to get directly involved. And that was like, oh shit. I've seen the clips. I haven't got to the storyline because I'm really far behind, but I've seen so many clips of everything. It's like, oh yeah, Palpatine's an adrenaline junkie. Also, the entire Palpatine coming back by cloning, that actually was done in Legends as well. If anything, I think they might have handled it better in the Disney version. If only because they got through it really fast, and that did actually improve it. It was drawn out and annoying in the Legends, and I'd rather skip through it. Also, Zero de Nova, time to spam chats, and Siren, let's all agree that once we hit the goal, you watch Speaker T's Mage the Awakening. Oh, God.
Underway, we need a setting. Since Star Wars takes place in a massive galaxy full of possibilities, we have a huge amount of creative freedom.
It was supposed to be smaller or bigger than ours.
Just kidding. Let's stick with what's safe. And what's safe is simply revisiting planets from episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
We don't want to get out of the fans' comfort zone.
Yet another Star Wars video game. Revisit all the usual Star Wars planets like Hoth, Tatooine, and Dagobah. Plays a Jedi named Mary Sue, who all of the canon characters love for some reason. Meet Han Solo, who is voiced by extremely bored-sounding Harrison Ford. Yeah, but also apparently one of the conditions to getting Harrison Ford back was literally they would finally let Han Solo die. Apparently, his initial agreement was for that to happen in The Return of the Jedi, and they didn't. Like, he wanted his character dead. I mean, admittedly, I think at the time it's because it would make a better story. And it makes sense. But also, yeah. Random aside about Harrison Ford. Is he really the Red Hulk in the new Marvel movie? Really? How did they even get Harrison Ford to do that?
while ruthlessly exploiting their nostalgia. If one is feeling creative, then it is okay to make a new planet, but it has to adhere to one critical rule.
Camino, Moon of Endor, Hoth, Dagobah, Tatooine. Oh, it's just a single color. Single environment.
Planets in the Star Wars universe have only one biome. It is important to ignore the only current model we have for life-bearing planets, Earth, with its biodiversity, variety of environmental conditions, and numerous biomes. I have a bad feeling about this, is what...
Okay, I'm going to say something I don't like giving credence to. The entire single biome is not just Star Wars. Almost every fantasy, anything, sci-fi, anything that involves multiple locations have, here is this country, planet, continent. It is this insert single type of environment. They're all like that. If it's multiple continents, one continent will have this type of weather, one continent will have this type of weather. And if you even get seasons, sometimes that's surprising in some fiction. Planets, it's all, hey, this is what we do here. It's just like that the entire time. It's like that in all of them, and it's bad, but it's like that in all of them. It's almost a trope at this point. Like, if you went in with an actual complex, realistic-looking biome, there's a good chance fans would be like, what are you doing? You've broken the aesthetic. And if that sounds stupid, yeah, I agree, it would be. I mean, we both know it would happen. Because the dumb is part of the things people like. It could be done well, and maybe people get over it, but the dumb is part of it. It's kind of like in a soap opera, having a down-to-earth, comprehensive plotline where no one overacts breaks the actual audience of a soap opera. So it's not so much the rule of cool on this one as the rule of audience expectation. Your audience has a very set thing of what they want, and if you don't give them that, they will get upset. So while he's making a good point, it also would literally be exactly the wrong place to do it because you kind of need the dumb. I don't like it, but it fits. Oh, and it looks like we have hit the goal. Oh.
Any writer would say, but don't worry, we just need to stick with the main theme of Star Wars. On first glance, the themes of Star Wars seem obvious. The mystery and power of the Force and how it binds all living things
Grammar
together
will not
in
use.
harmony. How it guides us, but also has a dark side that feeds upon negative emotions, symbolically standing in for the yin-yang nature of good and evil.
Sometimes? I mean, initially, it was changed into that by later editions, but the first interpretation of Star Wars was there's the Force, and there's the perversion of the Force that was the dark side. But then in the Legends and Disney and multiple writers within Disney and multiple writers within Legends, it's so interpreted that it has multiple people. There's also it's both the Force, there's good and bad. There's also, like, the games did that more, but just... And then there's the ones where there is no Force, there's just the Force and how you look at it. Then there's the one where... Those are the three distinct ones. It's the Grey Knights are right and everyone else is going too far on one side. Then there's yin and yang need to be balanced. Then there's going one or the other as a choice, and there's no way to go back from one because it corrupts you. And just... If you have almost 40 plus years of people with differing visions writing something, you can find something to support it everywhere, and it goes everywhere indeed. Ugh. Also, chromatics. Sci-fi is often twist on naval stories, treating planets as ports rather than planets. What gives us single biome planets is, again, they are ports. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. Sorry, what the heck is 25 PLN? Honestly, I just read that as PLA. I was like, wait, why is printing here? And I was thinking, wow, you can get 25 spools of PLA? It's a printing spool for 3D stuff. I just reminded myself I need more. Huh.
Then there is the ever-present theme of nature triumphing over technology, like how Luke only makes the shot on the Death Star exhaust port by
Not using
ignoring the
an
targeting
aimbot.
computer, or how the supremely technologically powerful Empire is defeated by teddy bears with sticks,
Yep.
not to mention all of the thematic allusions to the hero's journey monomyth. However, all of this is completely wrong. Star Wars has only one true theme that dominates every work within its
Is he going to pull up a dollar symbol? He's going to pull up a dollar symbol.
universe.
Called it!
Merchandising! Every Star Wars film must include new droids, ships, and characters that can easily be turned into action figures. And that's just the beginning. Then there
Honestly, the next one is merchandising, marketing, and promotion. Yeah. Oh God, it's a good one to come after this one.
There's the tie-in books, audio plays, television series, and comics. Not to mention all the video games, shirts, coffee mugs, posters, and, specialized dolls. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Did that say storm pooper? I'm sorry, what? You know, I'm just going to acknowledge I wasn't expecting to look at a terrible writing advice video and think, I need to buy that. But I might need to get that decal. Will my wife approve? Well, if I do it early enough, I can apologize rather than try and get permission.
Not get ahead of ourselves. Let's finish the story first. This shouldn't take too long. Just stick to one or both plots I mentioned earlier. Don't worry about plot holes. We can just fill those in with the Force. Easy. After we have slapped together...
He's not wrong. I mean, when you say it's magic, I don't have to explain shit is unfortunately a very good way to do it. Also, Zero, you mentioned how it feels to play from Lazy Purple would be cool. Oh, need brain root. It's probably one of the videos you want to check out later.
The plot, we need to write dialogue. I don't like Star Wars dialogue. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. But don't
Anakin.
worry. You have the high ground. You have the
I
power.
have the franchise now.
Limited power to not worry about...
You underestimate my cynicism. Also, Into Darkness sucked. Into Darkness? I don't actually know what that was. Sorry, I mentioned. So we all agreed to make him react to Speaker D's Macy Waking game, right? Oh, God.
Not the dialogue at all, since I'm sure the editor and director
And
will
he's
ignore
dead.
it and edit in more action
Cut down
scenes
your dialogue
instead.
a bit.
It's almost like the writing is treated as the least important part of a Star Wars
Yeah. Who watches Star Wars for the scripting dialogue anyways? Yeah.
movie. And that's the kind of attitude a writer needs to write a Star Wars story.
I'm sorry, J.P. Bobian. It seems in your rush to get this video out that you have forgotten one important Star Wars cliché.
What?
No!
Really? Time to look at something that definitely won't scar me for life. Marketing and promotion. Oh, joy. It's probably a follow-up to Star Wars. Chapter 8. Yeah.
Have you created a book, video game, movie, or
Best
YouTube
story
channel?
ever.
Have you spent countless hours meticulously crafting an exciting story and
If he doesn't make a single reference to Stephanie Meyer, who admittedly did a masterclass on advertising Twilight, I will be very surprised.
hopes to sell it to others? Did you believe that the hard part was over and that your story would be so good that it would sell itself?
You know, there's actually people who believe that. Like, unironically, there's people who believe, I'm such a great writer, I don't need to sell this. People should just give me money for my skill. And I mean that both in the, they did a good job and it makes sense, and also in the, I am really heavily inflating my own self-worth. It goes both ways.
Well, you're completely right. Now, naturally, most markets are flooded with a massive flood of content, which only means that your stuff will stand out.
Book A and YouTube. Yeah, okay, I think I'm good. Sorry, you mentioned, damn it, stop distracting him for Speaker D with shiny new channels he hasn't watched in a month. Yeah, I'm pretty bad about that.
Even more. But one does have the option, and let me stress that this next part is completely optional, to market and promote your creation.
Learn to market from some guy you've never heard of. Terrible writing advice. You can skip this ad in 30 seconds. The awesome video you actually want to watch. Yeah. Just remember, as long as you watch those ads, someone is getting paid. So the thing you don't like, the more you watch of it, the less likely they're going to do it again because they had to pay for it. Actually, that's not a joke. That's literally how it would work.
Don't worry, marketing requires no effort whatsoever and is totally not akin to beating your head against a brick wall.
As someone who is trying to start up a 3D printing business, yeah, I'm aware. Doing pretty good, actually, but also, oh god.
Not at all. Now, the first step is really simple. An author has to let as many people as possible know they
Aeon
have a
Legion.
book for sale. This is
Yeah.
done by constantly spamming out posts at every opportunity and as many places as possible while being loud and obnoxious. By the way, just thought I'd mention that I wrote a book. I just
Wait, he wrote a book? How did no one ever tell me about this?
thought I'd bring that up for no reason whatsoever.
I couldn't
Now,
see
what was
why.
I saying? Oh yes, just keep reminding people that you have a story to sell over and over again, just like that book I wrote. I'm sure these constant and ceaseless reminders won't get on people's nerves at all. Just
The fucked up part here, after making this video, it is almost guaranteed he saw a spike in book sales. There's almost no doubt. In fact, I'm going to look down at the comments below. Did he say anything? Nope. No immediate comment from him saying that, so he just hasn't admitted to it yet.
Just like my awesome book. This is especially effective in person. Constantly steer the conversation to be about one's work, no matter how awkward or vaguely related it is. Continue talking about the...
It also has time-traveling Nazis, ninjas, dinosaurs, knights, glowing swords, ray guns, monsters, FDR... FDR, really? Gunships, main battle tanks, masked villains, people with silver hair, explosions, prophecies, epic battles, amazing superpowers, people with anime hair, immortal, assassins, mysterious benefactors, a jailbreak, a dangerous maze, truth, destiny, fate, and a guy named Vand. Why Vand? And yes, out of all of that, that actually doesn't sound like a bad book. Sorry, you think probably too many people found Airier with his neurosummary reactions that don't know how to list anything else. Yeah, I thought that might happen. Sorry.
The book even after the potential customer's eyes have glazed over and they start looking for a quick exit from the conversation. No need for a quick, well-thought-out sales pitch that will allow the customer to quickly gauge if the book is a good match for their specific taste. Need more places to promote? Just barge into random internet forums, only vaguely related to your subject matter.
Hey, you guys should totally buy my science fiction book. This is a forum for migraine sufferers. I don't think this is the appropriate place to sell your book. Please leave. Oh, I know. I disagree. This is the perfect place. He's giving you a migraine, so it's perfectly in line. That's cool. My book has people who suffer from stuff too. Let me link. It's a bright view. Oh, God. It's really loud and bright preview. Oh. Yep. Yeah. The worst part is, and as much as I hate to say this, it would work. It won't work well. But the reason people keep doing this is because they do actually see some benefit. I mean, putting together well, doing a good job, creating something that does apply to the right audience at the right time in the right way that shows them exactly what they want is better. But that's also hard and takes understanding what you're doing. The easy way of spamming shit, the reason spam works is because quantity over quality is technically a way to do it. If you got on a spam mailing list or got someone to spam your book everywhere, constantly, to millions of people, but you did it for like $50 for an easy program doing it, if the cost benefit is working out, it might be worth it to do it that way rather than actually investing the time and money in making a good ad, because depending on how cheap you're running, it might be worth it. It's not good, but sometimes it kind of actually works, and I hate everything about this. It's just a matter of getting to enough people. One-on-one like this, or on a forum, not good. Getting to 1 million people because you got some random loud asshole to say something on Twitter, that works really well for the same amount of quality.
Don't bother to read any of the forum rules. Just spam out links to your work and then complain after getting unfairly banned. Be sure to start posting on Reddit as well. I hear they love people who self-promote without following the rules. And don't worry about bothering to spell check one's post or about using proper English.
Why wouldn't you give me book chunker? It's a god story. You geez 111111111. Tread locked at greedy author, read the forum rules, and act like a reasonable adult. See, that's just unrealistic. There's no such thing as a reasonable adult.
I see no reason why anyone would hesitate to buy a book from someone who can barely spell. Another good tip is to
Just gonna throw out there how many authors can't spell, how many people don't realize they can't spell, and how little that would matter sometimes.
constantly boast about all of one's remarkable credentials and achievements. All an author has to do is keep talking about how awesome they are while neglecting to mention anything about their work. I'm sure that ceaseless bragging will engage a potential audience rather than drive them away at a side.
So, that's a low blow. I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong, but I was in grad school. This is every person. Like, I went to a pretty good one where it wasn't that bad. And there's some that are way more cutthroat where they believe if the 5 people in your class are decent writers, you must destroy them because the only way you will ever sell a book is by making sure no one else thinks that they're a good writer so only you can publish. That is a thing that happens in grad schools. I was in the one where a few people had that opinion, and they also like to say they were writing autobiographies where they lied about everything to the point where it's absolute fiction, and obviously lied about it because they lied about everything constantly. It's like, I can't write because my 5th grandma, twice removed from my clone brother, has died again. Like, that level of blatantly bad lying to the point where you don't even realize they're trying to be truthful. They're just really bad about it. in the sense where they, think they're telling the truth, that they're deluding themselves into thinking. And it doesn't really make sense at that point. But you just gotta no, I'm not dealing with this right now. I'm basically telling you that some writers are schizophrenic. They make up lies and then they write them down. That's not a bad thing, actually. It's one of the best ways if you can channel it that way, but it gets more common.
Out of a bloated ego. Don't forget to brag about being a New York Times best-selling author. It's not like that's slapped on the cover of books so often that's become a meaningless designation.
Actually, what he's saying is even more meaningless than you think, because what becomes a best-selling author isn't actually people buying your book. It's getting companies like Barnes & Nobles to pre-purchase books for sale. You don't actually become a best-selling author in most cases on selling books to people. You get it based on getting a purchase order of so many thousands of individual packets, not the book, but like the actual shipments of the book itself, so that whenever someone wants to promote a book, they promote it by getting one of their contacts at a company who's definitely not getting a kickback to buy it in advance. So without selling a single book, you're already a best-selling author, which gives you advice, which gets people to look at your book. So then they are buying it because they think it's great, because other people think it's great, but they're not actually thinking it's great because no one could look at this book yet, because they just think, hey, I'm telling you, my contact who is in this company, that this book will sell. So you need to buy it to make it a best-selling author. So it sells to give you the money you're paying into this. It's a racket. Now, of course, if someone has a really good book that sells automatically, it could sometimes make it into these lists. But in general, it's easy to fudge the numbers because all you have to do is go to your contact if you have the contact. But this is how it works. It's not about selling books. It's about companies pre-purchasing for sale, because that counts as a sale of a book from you to them, not from the bookstore to a person.
Don't have any credentials? That's fine. Just
I'm not angry about this at all.
No one will question a book that's won a Nobel Hugo Newbery Medal of Honor. Still not selling
People
any
do
books?
that.
Don't worry, we just need a social media presence. Social media is a great way to market and certainly not a massive time sink. Authors should always share their controversial political views on their marketing social media profiles as
8 years ago. This is actually a distinct way. As long as your content aligns with the horrible things you're saying, it attracts the right audience and it works. So even though this is a great example of destroying most things, where it works well, and I hate this. Sorry, how about we do both a mage and a neuro to do the thumbnail? Honestly, sorry, I'm kind of leaning towards that because I want to do a little neuro to make the thumbnail right. And I want to do mage because I haven't seen it in a while, and it's just awesome. Speaker D stuff is awesome.
well as become embroiled in constant arguments over trivial personal affairs. That won't alienate large potential audiences. After all, important opinions on things unrelated to the author's artistic work and out of their field of expertise must be heard. Another essential marketing tool for any author is reviews. Now, it's commonly assumed that reviews are something customers give a book after reading in order to inform others about the quality of the work. This is a common misconception. Book reviews are something you pay for. I'm sure an Amazon page full of similarly worded 5-star reviews won't seem suspicious at all.
See, he's joking here. Unfortunately, the part that's unrealistic is it doesn't seem suspicious because most people see the amount of 5-star reviews. They check to see if there's a bunch of 1-star reviews and they won't read them. And if for some reason you're buying, I don't know, say a toothbrush on Amazon, but the reviews are talking about how you really appreciated the power washer you got for your dad's colonoscopy. No one even reads that part. It's like, does this look like it's a real review? Don't think so. Specifically on Amazon, what they do is they transfer reviews from one product to the next. So they get a bunch of reviews for a product they sold or from another product they've taken over, sometimes by hacking, and they transfer them to a different product. I'm not sure if this is something that's been patched or not yet, or if they even care to do it, or if it's still going on. But for a while, that was how they did it. So you get a bunch of reviews on a product they never sold because they're not real. They were from something else. Because I think for a while, when you made fake reviews, they showed you how to purchase it. Essentially, you're going to get a lot of reviews that aren't real. There's a lot of ways to get around it, and I'm not even sure the way I'm talking about now has been patched or not. It could be fixed. I just heavily doubt it.
Only other option is to pathetically beg for reviews. Oh, and don't forget to respond to negative reviews. People who clearly don't understand the author's genius must be set straight. If an author is not allowed to directly respond to a negative review, then be sure to make a bogus account to act as a sock puppet on their behalf. No one will instantly see through that, and I'm sure
They don't. That's the problem. They really don't. It happens a lot. It is so damn common. And not just for this. How many people have sock puppet accounts where it's like, well, I'm going to say this like, this guy's awesome. It's everywhere. It's so frustrating. And no one checks it.
Sure, that behavior won't come across as unprofessional. Need an even greater online reach? Make a YouTube channel. That's like super easy.
I mean, it is easy to make it. Making it work is a different one. Also, Pilot, you once saw a review for a Chevy oil filter on a kaiju thriller novel. Yeah. And the fucked up part is, if they don't do that level of stupid, it looks like it's horrible because people only look at the number of reviews and how many are good. So that oil filter probably did more to help them than anyone who actually read it or read it and realized it was bogus. It's like the system's broken. Sorry, and you mentioned he won't watch it if we don't remind him. Years of procrastinating on things he says he will watch. This happens on his channel. Yeah, he's not wrong. I'm bad about that, and it comes to years. For example, if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device, I was recommended to watch that for almost 2 years by Airier, who is a mod on Discord and a DM for a lot of the games I've played. Years of waiting before I finally watched it. That's actually a pretty fast turnaround for me.
YouTube is a great creator-friendly platform that always respects fair use and is known for its...
I had a hard time getting through this line with a straight face. Yeah. That's a good thing some things have never changed.
Easy to understand algorithm and lack of a competitive environment. Even better, YouTube channels grow themselves without any promotion, just like books. Imagine how absurd it would.
I mean, technically he's not wrong. I mean, look at my channel. I never promoted this shit ever. Well, except for a little bit when I started, and then it literally did nothing. Also, you know, I just started, so my content was... There's a reason I did that almost a decade ago and have never talked about it.
Would be to have to market your marketing. Tired of promoting to people on the internet? Buy a table at a local convention. This is an excellent place to meet new people and sell.
Hi, I actually just bought multiple tables at different conventions, so I'm literally this guy right now. Also, randomly, if you happen to be seeing this before March 28th, 2025, I will be at the 1v4 Con in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Because I figured that would be a fun place to go for multiple days and sell models because it was fun. That's not a joke. I'm actually going to be there. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Also because whenever we're not like selling, I'm definitely taking my wife and taking her to like one of the random parks around there because apparently there's a ton.
Sell your work. Just show up with zero planning and preparation.
That's the way I do everything.
And the best part about conventions is that one can physically block the escape of any potential customer. What an excellent opportunity to force a
I brought a taser just for that purpose.
sales pitch down their throat. Getting desperate? Perfect. Nothing sells quite like desperation, and it won't appear unprofessional at all. If all else fails, then abduct your potential customers' families and hold them for ransom. And if you want to see them again, you will buy my book.
I mean, this is just classic. There's nothing to say about it.
JP Bobian here. I just wanted to thank everyone who subscribed.
Wait, that's how you say his name? Bobian? Oh, I would never have got that. Huh. Also, Vale. Hello from Greece. And I'm going back to Hell of a Boss episode 12. I keep meaning to, and I keep forgetting because I'm bad about that. Yeah. And because I feel like torturing myself just a bit more today, we're going to move on from something that definitely didn't cause me physical pain to terrible writing advice about magic schools. I have no idea what this will be a reference to. Mostly because even though I was going to make a joke about it obviously being Hogwarts, I just remembered halfway through saying that there's multiple different magic schools in multiple different places. So for all I know, this is a Dissenters reference? I think that's the Disney one. I don't know. Oh boy.
Do you remember your time in school?
Not willingly.
Do you long for your nostalgic youth?
No.
No? Was it a time of deep confusion and unpleasantness filled with bullies and embarrassing moments?
Yep.
Would you rather do anything to avoid reliving that terrible time in your life? Or are you still trapped in the nightmarish hellscape that is the American...
Orwell High. Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, I do not miss school. Syrian, going to debt is worth for a potato lord. Oh my god. If it's too much, man, don't do that, please.
American public education system. Well, that's okay, because now you can express those pent-up memories and emotions by writing about them. And by express, I mean take petty revenge. Yes.
That is literally the purpose of... What was it? Salinger's book about a guy in high school who was an absolute douchebag. I don't remember because I hated the book explicitly.
Yes, as an author, we can set our story in a fictional school or academy. But
Mary Sue's Academy for chosen ones.
unlike real life, we are in complete control and thus can shape the setting, plot, and characters to our liking. That means that it is completely okay to go way overboard with wish fulfillment while indulging in our darkest revenge fantasies.
Getting a scholarship and not having to pay it off. I mean, there's fantasies and there's unrealistic proposals altogether, so yeah. My God, Siren, you wrote potato? My God.
Sounds healthy. After all, nothing says fun quite like the dry, sterile environment of academia. Now, the best part about fictional academies is that
I
our
wonder who the
students
main character
are there
is.
to learn about their special powers. Children with superpowers. That sounds like an excellent combination. Children and teens are well known for their excellent judgment and lack.
School girl apocalypse. There is a dystopia no one has thought of yet. I'm pretty sure an anime. I blame anime for this. Okay, yeah, he actually agrees with me down there. Oh, yeah. And Salbag, you're currently in college. School has plenty to enjoy. Writing papers and swamping homework. Honestly, no. College is different from school. They shouldn't be, but they very much are. It's just more expensive.
Lack of cruelty, so let's instantly give them access to a full array of powers. Now, a few readers might be perplexed by this. After all, shouldn't our protagonist be attending this school in order to learn about their powers, gradually gaining mastery over them through time-consuming practice and careful study? Having a highly detailed training process also gives the reader plenty of time to learn the ins and outs of the story.
He's going to say nope, and it'll be followed by throwing them at random problems no one else will solve.
Story's magic system, while also fleshing out the setting. In addition, it makes the protagonist more sympathetic by actually forcing them to earn their powers while also adding a layer of realism by showcasing
dare
the
you
safety
have realism,
procedures the staff
you
have
monster.
in place to ensure the students don't hurt themselves or each other. But you know what is even better? Having
Power-ups?
our special protagonist already know everything there is to know about their powers and wielding that knowledge to show up the teachers. Earning things is for losers who don't take shortcuts, and our time is better spent
Stay away from Alpha McSteel Labs. He's mine. Yeah, because he does the joke about there's always the love triangle, and one of them is always the super jacked guy. With the dorky hair, though.
detailing the protagonist's angsty teenage relationship drama. Speaking of relationships, be certain to completely ignore or gloss over the internal politics of academia.
Thou shalt leaveth no young witch or wizard behind. Oh, that never happens.
That should have no impact on the students' lives at all,
I mean, at least they're doing some things realistically.
since teachers only exist in the story to either praise the protagonist's unearned talent or as a minor antagonist that will be put in their place by the end.
Even though I radiate pure evil, they still let me teach here for some reason. I think in at least the J.K. Rowling version, it's because British schools. I have not been in one. But from what I've heard, from admittedly unreliable sources, they make American schools look admittedly just as dangerous as you probably expect.
Another antagonist is the bully character. Every magical academy needs a host.
Hobbies. Giving wedgies. Shoving weaklings into lockers. Calling people losers. Having zero personality. Being an 80s stereotype. Because most of the writers who are now at the point where they can get the stuff published probably grew up in that time period. I'm sure it's unrelated.
Of stock bully characters who exist only to torment the protagonist and the protagonist's friends. The bully character must also be leagues behind the protagonist in terms of abilities and talents, magical or otherwise. A bully character must either be a one-dimensional straw man with zero redeeming qualities, or a thinly veiled caricature of someone the author knows in real life. Not that I would ever do that. After all, I have a YouTube channel with hundreds of subscribers, a well-reviewed book on Amazon, and a website, Justin. What?
My apologies to anyone in the audience actually named Justin. Also, I love how he says hundreds of subscribers, not hundreds of thousands, or what is he at right now anyways? 1 million. Yeah, the jokes, of course, it's talking about having nothing, but saying it's everything. Also, the fact that you could probably find people literally doing this unironically. Yeah.
What do you have? Nothing!
God.
Who's the loser now? Shows you for making fun
Still
of
me.
freshman year. Sorry, where was I? Oh, right. Now the rest of the students
Academy
should
Student
also
Factory?
be stock characters. Don't forget the one or more love interest. Now
Of course there's a factor of that.
let's take another look at the school itself. Since this is an institution of learning for developing and vulnerable young minds, it obviously needs lots of unexplored labyrinths full of dangerous traps and deadly secrets.
Still safer than public school in America. Or private school. Honestly, there's really no difference at this point. Why do we have saw blades traps in the ceiling? Well, so you know where they're coming from.
Have the teacher forbid these places after pointing them out to the students. We all know that children and teenagers always do what they are told.
I mean, at this point, it's just pure survival of the least dumb. You know, there's probably someone out there who's like, you know what's a really good option? Putting obvious, easily avoidable death traps and telling kids not to do it. Because if anyone's dumb enough to go there, that's just nature at that point.
Parents should have no second thoughts about sending their children to a school that houses dangerous mystical artifacts and guards them with terrifying monsters.
7 years ago. This was 7 years ago. 7 years ago. I'm just saying because... Okay, I'm an American. I feel like he's making a joke about our school system right now, except he's making a joke about the fictional worlds where there's tons of dangerous things ready to kill everyone. I just have to remind myself this was 7 years ago. It's not a joke about reality. It's a joke about fiction not being realistic. This is harder to watch than I thought it would be.
Nor should any government authority investigate the school for numerous safety violations. It's not like they would notice anything odd while the school turns into a massive battleground between the forces of good and evil.
This isn't meant to be a takedown, but it sounds like a takedown. Seriously, 7 years, man. I know it's supposed to be Harry Potter, but it doesn't sound like he's making fun of Harry Potter. It sounds like it's just America Simulator. Oh, God. It's not even meant that way. It just happens to function this way. If you took this out of context, put an American flag on the only part of the thumbnail, you would think something very different about everything he just said. Just your average epic battle of destiny.
Thankfully, the teachers are on hand to deal with trouble. Unfortunately, they are completely worthless and will prove entirely ineffective at saving the school. They may even get in the way
Are you guys going to do anything about the forces of evil invading the school? No.
of the protagonist and refuse to listen to any warnings. In the end, the overpowered protagonist will have to save the day and the school. Don't forget to contrive a way to make sure the protagonist confronts the villain alone. We can't have other characters hogging the glory. After defeating the main antagonist, don't
I mean, admittedly, that's one of the things Harry Potter did right at the end. Other people did good jobs. Neville was awesome the entire time.
forget to take time to humiliate all of the bullies who picked on me. I mean the protagonist. Be sure to really rub it in and that the bully suffers for their earlier transgressions. Make sure they get their just desserts, even if it means we don't have time to...
Report card for the Mary Sue. Saving, that's supposed to be a V. Saving the school, D-. Being overpowered, A+. Feeding the Shoggoth, B+. Well, that's just unfortunate. You need to get an A on that one.
address what kind of grades the protagonist made, or even if they passed a semester. We have to keep perspective on what's really important, and that's proving all those jerks were wrong.
You know, there was a lot of interesting talk about the influence of money and marketing in the first few videos and destruction of properties, but also the way they're put together. And there's a lot of cool stuff. And then we got to the magic school one, and I'm just sitting here going, I don't think it was meant to be that hard hitting. I really don't. But it was. Oh, God. To quote Joe LeBaron in the chat, fiction reflects reality. It's just an effed up mirror. That sounds about right. Yeah, I'm just going to file this under the Russian Badger things of, I don't know why this video is surprisingly more painful to watch than I expected, but apparently we're there, and now we have to live with it. Yep. If you guys haven't already, there'll be a link below. Hit them up. And if you don't mind, I'm going to do a point to not think about anything he just said in that last video because it's just a little too on the nose. It's like he was not even aiming for it, and yet somehow he managed to hit it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't find out. Just don't. it's not worth it. It's better off to run away screaming. In fact, that might be the best option regardless. I'd recommend it all the time. I would, except I don't have the lung capacity to run and scream at the same time. The downside of being lazy. Yeah. Curses. Again, links. Hit them up. And I'll see you guys in the next one.